What is up, guys, and welcome to another edition of the Market Marauder Show, beating the market one trade at a time. Alright, so on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my Sunday Stock Market Watch List. So going and looking at the overall economy as a whole, we did have PCE numbers that came out on this Friday, which I talked about in the last episode, so check out the previous episode where I break down those numbers and a path forward on how to react to those numbers as a whole. So, looking at the market, just looking at SPY, for instance, we see that the market fell down to about 518.37. So, it was overall bearish towards the end of the market, right about closing, but then at the end of the market, probably in the last hour of trading, we can see the stock market just shot up from about this 518 level to 527.37. So overall, I think once the numbers came out, everybody digested it, and then there was a positive sentiment that came out in the market for it to shoot up to this 527.37. So in my opinion, I think we're going to be overall bullish to start the week on Monday. But we do have some earnings coming up this week, which we're going to be breaking down some of the ones that are coming out. So, just going to give a brief analysis of some of the ones I'm going to be watching that have earnings. First, we have CrowdStrike. So, let's jump into CrowdStrike, ticker sign CRWD. Their earnings will be on Tuesday after the close. So, bear in mind, this will be after the close. At the current time of recording this, they are at $313.67. So CrowdStrike, if you're not familiar with the company, they're kind of a cybersecurity sort of company, sort of like Snowflake, if you've heard of that company before. And they deal with big data, cybersecurity, keeping different companies' infrastructures afloat, sort of an IT firm, if you will, but more on the cybersecurity side of that, keeping data private and protected from attacks. So CrowdStrike, being at 313.67, their moving average 10 is at 319.49, moving average 20 is at 329.55, and moving average 30 is at 336.31. So, in my personal opinion, with all of the tensions that are going on in the world, geopolitical, I think a lot of cybersecurity companies will be kind of in the eye or the view of a lot of government officials, especially using their services to protect data as we continue on with major conflicts that are going on geopolitically. So I think CrowdStrike's going to be one that I'm looking at this week. Like I said, their earnings is going to be after the close on Tuesday. So just bear that in mind. If you're setting a position, usually these tend to uh, have their position go bullish or go bearish after their earnings. So you'll probably see towards the end of earnings or towards the end of trading on Tuesday what position the market overall will see when these earnings come out. So whether that's you think it's bullish or you think it's bearish, that position usually will happen towards the end of trading. Um, and you can see that position start to, really gain support towards the end of Tuesday trading. So overall, in my personal opinion, I think that this is probably going to be a bullish move for CrowdStrike. If we see towards the end of trading on last Friday, it started to go up a little bit. This small green candlestick was a little bit of a bullish play. So I'm going to be looking to see if they can break through this 321.68, which is the moving average 30. If we go to what the actual sentiment is for CrowdStrike, they have a high price target of 435. So $435 is the high. $401.19 is kind of the average middle range level, and then for a low target price, you have $350. So overall, it has a 36 positions as buy, one is hold, and zero is sell. So overall, a nice bullish sentiment overall for the market as far as CrowdStrike is concerned. And overall, I think I agree with that. I think CrowdStrike and companies like CrowdStrike will continue to be bullish um, as far as all the geopolitical things, like I said earlier, going on. The Ukraine situation as well as the situation going on in Israel. I think CrowdStrike will be one of the ones in the view of a lot of different companies as well as a lot of different politicians or political parties when it comes to cybersecurity. Next, we have Lululemon. So Lululemon is a clothing company. A lot of people wear Lululemon clothes. I personally do not have any, but I know overall for a stock they have been doing quite well. Also, if we saw like last week with the run of Abercrombie and Finch, which is kind of a big box retailer as well, it's been around for a long time, and them doing well. I think Lululemon has a larger following than Abercrombie and Finch, so I think Lululemon will do well as well. They are currently bullish at the end of trading on Friday at 311.19. Their moving average 10 is 310.68. Moving average 20 is 308.39, and moving average 30 is 306.41. So they are bullish. If we look at their trading for the past couple of days, they have been bouncing off of this moving average 30 level, and then they bounced off the resistance of the moving average 20. And then it seems like they bounced off the moving average 10. So it seems like, every point of trading they've bounced higher with the higher resistance level ending at this 311.99. I think that's in anticipation of the earnings coming up. Their earnings will be after the close on Wednesday. So bear that in mind, another after the close earnings, but I think Lululemon will do well as the other companies. So as far as market sentiment, we have 17 buys, 4 holds, and 1 sell. There's kind of a vast range for the company as a whole. As far as Lululemon is concerned, market sentiment is the highest price target is 550, average price target at 435.60, and low price target at $240. So in my personal opinion, gonna be looking to see if it can test this 550 level as the high target. Now, it may not get all the way to 550, but I think it can get close to it, especially if they have numbers like Abercrombie and Finch, which I think went 24 or 22% above their earnings quarter over quarter. So the next one we have on here is Dollar Tree. So DLTR is their ticker sign. They will have earnings on Wednesday. The earnings will be before the open. So bear that in mind. Before the market opens on Wednesday, Dollar Tree will have its earnings. So it may be good to have a position in, maybe close of Tuesday, or sometime Tuesday before the market opens when this move goes. In my personal opinion, I think Dollar Tree may be kind of a 50-50. It may be do good or it may not do good. I know they had a problem with a lot of their suppliers and having to change prices. So a lot of the prices are not a dollar anymore, which is kind of the basis for their entire model. They did change a lot of their prices to above a dollar. So really kind of being like a Five Below or a company like that. And so I don't think that got rid of their core target audience, but it definitely brought a new demographic. So instead of like, lower income people coming to Dollar Tree, now it's kind of more like middle class and lower income people coming to Dollar Tree. So it kind of grew their demographic, but there are companies out here that also do the same thing. So, uh, them coming out of their, I guess, price target of everything being a dollar, it kind of opened the door to people who would use Dollar Tree now as a Walmart substitute or a Target substitute, or people who would use it as, a Dollar General substitute or even a Five Below substitute. So definitely going to be looking to see how Dollar Tree performs. In my opinion, it's kind of a 50-50. They did end bullish, though, at the end of the week, ending at $117.95 per share with a low that was at 112.35, and they are bullish again. Their moving average 10 is at $117.06. Moving average 20 is at $116.12, and the moving average 30 is at $115.59. So they are well above their moving average 30, which is the lowest number on here. Definitely going to see if they can continue this bullish upward trend as the market continues on, and as they get closer to earnings, which will be Wednesday before the open. So market sentiment for Dollar Tree, there are 13 buys, 5 holds, and 1 sell. So kind of a moderate buy overall for the company, with a high target price of $180 per share, a average price of $152.33 per share, and a low target price of $109. So they've already surpassed their 109 target price, which is the low one. Gonna see if they can test that 153.33. That's kind of the one that I'm gonna be looking at. I'm not gonna look at that 180 just because it being 50-50, even though the market sentiment is a moderate buy for this one, I'm going to be looking at the 152.33 level for Dollar Tree as they have earnings this week. Next, we have ChargePoint, which will have their earnings on Wednesday, so it'll be after the close, just like Lululemon. So ChargePoint is a EV charging company, so they have a bunch of charging stations. They install charging stations at your house as well, but it's kind of more of on the commercial side of charging stations, kind of an alternative to Tesla's charging stations. So um, with the EV market kind of very volatile in the United States, for instance, I think there's still a growth and a push for EVs as far as trying to get them to market, trying to get more EVs out there. People still converting over to EVs, and with the price of ChargePoint and all the things that they do being at $1.68. I think personally that's a value, especially with all the things that they do at ChargePoint and this big EV push. There's still governmental incentives for EV companies out there and companies that can help improve the grid as a whole. So I think ChargePoint, from a long-term perspective, looks green. They do have this range between $1.63 and $1.79, which is a pretty vast range. A little over 10-cent range gap that I'm going to be looking at. Overall, they are bearish though. Moving average, um, well, the price ended at $1.68. Moving average 10 is at $1.66, and the moving average 20 and 30 are both at $1.70. So the moving average 20 and 30 kind of converged at one point, which is only 2 cents away from the price where they ended at. They did end on a green candle, so they are going a little bullish. I don't know if that's anticipation of their earnings, which will be Wednesday after close, but definitely interested to see how this one's going to behave. Again, I would put this on 50-50 for the short term, but for long term, I think it'll be positive if they can still get those EV incentives out into the market. So as far as overall sentiment for ChargePoint, there's six buys, five holds, and one sell. So overall moderate buy rating. I think the market's kind of 50-50 as well with the six buys and five holds and one sell. I would kind of mix that one sell with the hold and kind of say it's 50-50, being six holds and five and six buys. So the market overall is going to be looking at a high target price of $6 per share, average price target of $3.38 per share, and a low price target of $1.50 per share. Overall, I think long term they can hit the $6 per share as a high price target, but gonna have to see some numbers. I want to see some how many charging stations they were able to install, what their projected number is for installation, some governmental incentives that they got from installing all these charge stations, as well as some of the plans they have for the future to grow capital. So the EV market, even though there are a lot of cars out there, I still feel is pretty new as far as infrastructure is concerned. Tesla is kind of the leader as far as EV infrastructure, as well as EV cars themselves. They have the highest technology as well as the most infrastructure that they built out. So you're kind of competing with a company that has, a dual-edged sword. For instance, they have the best vehicles that are out there as well as the infrastructure to support them. So with this company focusing directly on infrastructure, I think they would have to have a lot of partnerships with other big brand companies like GM or Chevrolet, companies like that that will help build their grid out with their product set. And I want to see what their feel is in the market for the overall sentiment for EV as a whole. So, going to be looking at this $3.38 level for ChargePoint, ticker sign CHPT, as they continue to go on in the market. Next, we have DocuSign. DocuSign is a company that uses their platform to help you sign documents. So if you have to sign legal documents or if you have to sign contracts or things of that nature, they were really big during the pandemic as everybody switched over from remote work. DocuSign kind of shot up because people were switching over to how do we sign documents? Do we use PDFs? Do we use like PDF Exchange, Adobe? How do we get these contracts and stuff still going? People were also switching off to Zoom. Zoom was another one that grew tremendously. and then also Microsoft because it had Teams. But DocuSign was definitely kind of the in between one where everyone needed to sign documents because business still was going on. So DocuSign, ticker sign DOCU, is currently at $54.74. Which I think is overall kind of moderate. I wouldn't say it's bullish or bearish. I would say it's kind of in the middle because it's in between that moving average 30 and the moving average 10 level. So moving average 10 is at 53.86, moving average 20 is at 54.40, and the moving average 30 is at 55.32. So if we see on the chart here, they had a low of around $53.50 with a high of $58.74. So that's kind of a large range. Maybe it had been an oversell market reaction, and this is kind of it bouncing back up. We'll see if it can retest this 55.32 and then retest 58.74. So those are going to be the two levels that I'm looking for as we get closer to earnings. So DocuSign has an earnings that's coming up. Their earnings is going to be Thursday after the close. So bear in mind, Thursday after the close, DocuSign will report their numbers for this quarter. And for overall market sentiment for DocuSign, we have a 3 buys, 11 holds, and 2 sells. So overall hold sentiment for DocuSign. Like I said, it was kind of a pandemic play, so we're going to see how the numbers have changed since the pandemic. Are people still using DocuSign, or has the remote work transition for people going back to the office really hurt DocuSign? And do people still use it for their day-to-day operations? So overall, there's a high price target for $93 per share, average price target at $66.77 per share, and a low price target at $48 even per share. I think I'm going to be looking at the $66.77 level for DocuSign. Going to be looking to see if they can test that. If they can break through that, then maybe a $70 level, but definitely going to be looking at $66.77 since the market has this overall as a hold. And lastly on here we have ticker sign NIO for NIO. NIO is a Chinese EV company. Chinese EVs have been doing well overall compared to how Tesla's been doing in the States. Now Tesla still being, the king. They haven't really been able to, in my opinion, solidify or push Tesla into the China ecosystem as well as NIO and some of the other Chinese EV car manufacturers have been able to do. So NIO is one that a lot of people day trade, a lot of people look at. So there will be a lot of volume going into NIO, getting closer to earnings. Their earnings is Thursday before the open, so bear that in mind. And also bear in mind that they are not in the U.S. Market, so they are a Chinese EV stock, so that may affect when this opens. So bear in mind Thursday open. If you have a play, my personal opinion, I would look at this probably Wednesday and see how the pattern is setting up for this one for Wednesday. Almost close to close, kind of midday. I would look midday at NIO to see how it's performing and kind of set up my position from there. So NIO is going to be what I'm looking at. They are bullish. The stock ended at $5.39 per share. Moving average 10 is at $4.92. Moving average 20 is at $4.91, and the moving average 30 is at $4.91. So, moving average 20 and moving average 30 kind of converge at the same point. We'll see. We saw that they bounced a little bit off of that moving average 20 and 30 conversion, or moving average 10 and moving average 30 conversion. And then we're going to see how they work as the market continues to go on. So $5.52 is definitely a level I'm going to be looking at to see if as the market opens on Monday, if they can break through that $5.52 level, if they can continue to be bullish from there. But I think overall it may be a positive note for NIO as a whole, since they are a direct competitor with Tesla. I think Chinese EVs again have been doing well overseas, and I think NIO, being as big of a company as it is and how many people support it in China, I think may do numbers. So next we have what the overall sentiment is for NIO in the market. So we have 8 buys, 9 holds, and 1 sell. So overall a moderate buy. There's a high price target of $10.40 with an average price target of $6.66 and a lower price target of $4 even. So price target I would look at for NIO would be around $7. I think it'll be a little bit above this average price target because there's so many people that day trade NIO or jump into NIO. It's on Wall Street Bets a lot. There's a lot of people who really look at NIO as far as price volume is concerned. A lot of options traders jump into NIO as well. So I think earnings for NIO is something a lot of people are going to be looking at. A couple things to be looking at for NIO is new products, how many deliveries. Delivery numbers are always huge in EV, is a number or a catalyst for its growth. And then going to be seeing plans for moving forward. Are they developing new products? Are they making more cost efficient EV products? Are they going to be making new models? And what is the price target for those models? So going to be looking at some of those key metrics for NIO, but overall, I think a bullish sentiment is good for NIO. Going back to the market as a whole, going to be looking to see how the market performs. It did shoot up as bullish after the end of trading to this 527.37 level. Going to be looking to see if it can continue this bullish upward trend after these inflation numbers were digested. Like I said again, if you're interested on the inflation numbers that came out on Friday, make sure you check out the previous podcast that I just released. Drop a comment down below. Tell me what you think of these levels. Which one of these do you think will be the ultimate winner for the week? Would it be CrowdStrike, Lululemon, Dollar Tree, ChargePoint, DocuSign, or NIO? And which ones do you all like to trade? And which ways do you all like to trade? Are you all day traders, options traders, um, or long-term investors? Drop your comment down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.